Creating a program registration on Crossbar is a great way to accept individual or player registrations. This video will walk you through the step-by-step guide of how to create a new program, as well as add a season to that program, and talk about all the different options for customization along the way. So to get started, we'll go ahead and jump into our dashboard, where we'll make sure we're on the Registrations tab and then the Programs tab from there. Here, we can go ahead and create Add New Program, which will allow us to go ahead and enter in the name of our new program, any specific information about that program, choose whether or not we'd like that program to show up in our Programs dropdown at the top navigation bar of the site, and here you've got also a couple other customization options, like whether you'd like your registrants and team staff added to the club membership, which we always recommend. You can enter into refund policy. And then once you've got all of these settings complete, you'll go ahead and hit save to create that new program. Once created, you'll notice that the system's going to nudge you to create a season. We'll focus for now just on this black program bar level first, and then talk about the new season. So talking left to right through the different options you have here on this program bar, we'll start with our program settings. This is where you can go in and modify any of the settings that you first create when you created a new program. So in here, I can modify my refund policy, I can change my sport if I need to, make any different changes that you need to, and then hit save to save those. Next up is our edit icon. This is going to take us to that program page that'll show in our site navigation. And you'll notice here we've got a number of different custom or template options that give you sort of a starting place of information here. So these are just what we recommend, but of course you've got the full page builder here, so you're able to modify everything that's showing. Over on the right-hand side of the page, you'll notice we have a check back later box. This ultimately is where our season information is going to live, so we'll come back here a little bit later to show you how that comes over. Back in on our dashboard, our next up option is our Volunteers tab. Volunteers is a great way to ask your parents going through registration if they have any interest in volunteering for any of your needs throughout the season. So commonly here we'll see things like team manager, board member, fundraising, the scorekeeper, any number of different volunteer needs that you may have. You'll notice that once you've added these in, you can go in and update, edit, change the order of these. And then for your parents, they'll show as a checkbox, so they'll be able to select which they're interested in volunteering for. Next up are our player positions. So this allows you to go in and customize what positions you'd like to offer your players to enter in to show what position they play throughout the season. Here you can customize how these show, so you can control whether or not you've got these listed at all, or if you want them to be really specific, or include things like prefers forward, prefers defense. And you'll notice we've got the position count option here too, which will just give you a summary of how many different positions you have within each age level, which can help you keep track of how many folks you've got. Next up from player positions is our registration questions. So here we can jump in and add any custom registration questions we need to. Crossbar is automatically going to pull in the player name, player birth date, their home address, as well as parent name, parent email, and parent phone number. So this would be any additional questions that we need to ask throughout registration. So here we can jump in and create new question. You'll notice you've got the option to clone in the future. For now, we'll just focus on creating a new question here. So once we hit create new question, now we'll be able to choose all the different options here. So we'll say we want to ask this during registration. We'll enter in our question here to pose to those going through registration. The report label is for you all as admins behind the scenes. So that'll be that column header of information, so you can quickly see how folks answered that question. And then the description box allows you to enter in some additional information about what you're asking. This is also a great place if you have things like code of conduct or liability waivers. You can enter in that waiver language in the description box. Then under question format, you've got 4 different options to choose from. And then you can choose whether or not it's a required question. So for the different answer options, if you chose from select from options in a list or select from options in a dropdown, you can go in and add a new choice to customize what those answers are. So the display label, that's what shows up for folks going through registration, and the report value, that's how that information saves in your registration report. So here we've got both our returning player and our new player as the different options for folks to choose from. You'll notice here in our registration questions that we have 2 different levels. So you've got your registration questions and your offer questions. The offer questions allow you to ask those questions when a player is getting that offer to join a team if you have a tryout program. We have a little bit more information about that on our site, so please reach out if you have questions. In addition to registration questions, we've also got what we call upsells, which allows you to add on any additional costs or purchases that folks may have in addition to their registration cost. So here we can do add new upsell, and these will look very similar to how we added a new registration question. The difference comes in here is that we're asking them if they'd like to purchase something. So for example, would you like to purchase a sticker, report label, again for us behind the scenes. And then once we save that upsell question, now we can go in and add a new choice option, where then based on their choice, we can assign a dollar amount. So for in this example, we can say if they'd like to purchase a sticker, then it's going to be a total of $15 added onto their total registration cost. Here you can customize whether this is used for only certain positions, as well as specific age levels. Then you've also got the max uses option here. So if you have a certain number of stickers available, you could set this up to sell out after a certain number had been purchased. Then once we've got that option, we'll save and add another option, which would be the no, which will allow us to have a $0 cost, essentially giving people the option to either purchase the sticker for $15 or not purchase it and have no additional cost added to their total registration. So that completes our program setup. So now let's jump into our season specific information. So I just hit add new season, and here we can enter in some of our more date specific information. So for example, now we've got our spring 2023 season. I'll put in the start and end dates of our season of play. Choose whether or not that season shows up on my program page. And then as far as registration status goes, you've got 3 different options to pick from here. So we have disabled, which means the season's not able to accept registrations. Hidden, which is a bit of a hybrid where it can accept registrations but won't show the register button publicly. And then live, which means there'll be a register button on our program page. Then we can choose to have our teams show in this teams drop down at the top site navigation. We'll enter a description, which will show up right over that button to register on our program page. We can enter in a confirmation email, which will send to everyone who goes through and completes registration to confirm that they're registered. And then you can also have an email address copied here to receive every confirmation email that sends. So if you'd like an email notification each time someone registers, this is a great place to enter it. Then we'd hit save to create our new season. Same thing with the program settings. Your season settings, you can always jump back in and modify anything that we first created when we set that season up. Next up, we'll come into our age levels. So this is where we can customize what the different age levels are for our season. So for example, here, we'll go ahead and enter in an 8U age level. We'll put in those birth date ranges. That'll dictate how those players are categorized when they start to sign up for the season. And then hit add age level. Then you can enter in multiple, edit and change that. And then when we come to our teams, now we can go in and add a new team, where then we can choose that age level to assign to our team. So for example, if we've got our 8U Hammerheads team here, we'll be able to enter them in with the age level of 8U. Be able to enter in a team abbreviation, choose whether or not they show in that site navigation we were just looking at the season settings. And then everything down here is specific to how they're scheduled. So if you have a goal number of touches that team should be on the field or on their facility throughout the season, as well as the number of total allocated hours, you can enter those into the touches and allocation boxes. You've also got the option for limitations. So you've got a young team like this 8U team. Maybe you don't want them to be practicing after 9 p.m. You can set that up to have a flag on the scheduler side. And now we've got our team created here. So you can see we've got the option to go in and edit that team, add team staff, roster that team, make a copy of it, or delete that team. Moving on from teams over to our prices for the season. This is where you can set up the different price options. So we have standard pricing, which shows up as that standard price for folks to go in and register with publicly. We also have what we call custom pricing, which allows for folks to have a custom price specific to them or to a set of players. You all would set this up as a custom price option, which would then allow you to send out a link that'll be generated for each custom price. As long as folks use that specific link to register with the custom price, they'll see their specific pricing to check out with, different from that sort of standard price that will show for everyone else. Then we also have offers. So offers are where you can assign that full season fee after tryouts. So for example, your standard price in that case would be your tryout fee or evaluation fee. Then your offer would be the full season fee. And then you also got discount codes, which allows you to set up a custom discount for everyone going through registration. It's important to note that these can be either dollars off or percentage off. and would only be eligible on standard prices and custom prices, not on our offers, since those are designed to be contracted between your club and your player, and so they should already be a little bit specific to that player. So let's jump in and add a new standard price option so we can see what that looks like. So here we'll go ahead and put in our spring fee. We can choose whether or not that's a free registration. So if it's not, we'll go ahead and enter in a full price option here. You can also choose whether or not you'd like to offer a payment plan. So you can select what that deposit should be, how many installments that should be broken up into, and when those installments should begin. You can also set up a late fee for those payments. So if you'd like to put in a late fee, you can also choose the amount of grace period of time that should be charged after. Then you've got the option for a membership requirement. That's specific if you have something set up under our memberships tab, so we're happy to talk more about that if you have questions. You've also got volunteer requirements, so you can choose whether or not folks are required to work volunteer hours. And then you can also give them an option to buy out those hours if they prefer to do that instead. And then you can also set this up so it's only assigned those hours once per family within the same season. Then you've got the option for position limits. So this allows you to customize the pricing based on position. If you have goalie specific pricing, this is a great way to do that, where you can show certain prices based on whether they are a goalie or not. Of course, you've got age limits. So if you have different prices for different age levels, you can set up those birth date ranges to match your age level ranges that we set up earlier. Then you've also got usage limits. So this would be if you have a cap of folks that you can get registered with this price, you can set up a usage limit. So this would show as sold out after 25 uses. And then we've got an auto roster option. So if you knew what team that someone would be on based on their price, then you could set that up to auto roster them to their team. Now that we've got that standard price option set up, so you can see that listed here, you can make a copy of that, delete that, edit that as you need to. Next up on our season level is what we call our documents. So these allow you to upload any hard documents that you need from your players. So here you would ask for things like birth certificate, for example, if you need a physical copy of their report card or their code of conduct sign off, you can add those in as options. This allows you to set up whether or not you want to review those or if you'd just like to store them. And then you can also choose if you'd like your team staff to have access to those documents or just your board members or those with admin access on the site. And then once saved, that you'll be able to choose whether or not that document is required when they are registering for their season, when they're receiving their offer to join their team, or when they're rostered to their team. So we always recommend including that when they're rostered to their team, simply because lots of folks won't have those documents on hand to upload going through registration. But if you choose the when rostered option, they'll get an email notification telling them that there is action required, that they should upload that document, and then they'll continue to receive that until they do upload the document to the system. Now that we've got our program and season set up, we can go back to our program page to show you how that season shows up here. So if I go into my travel page and my programs drop down, then you'll be able to see my season right over here on the right-hand side of the screen with that description box. And we'll go ahead and click in to show you what registration looks like. So clicking right away, you'll be able to select the participant that you're registering. You'll see we've got our volunteer interests of positions that folks can sign up for. We'll enter in the player address, of course, to go along with their registration detail here. Then once entered, they'll go through and select any answers to the questions that we've set up. So you'll say position, choose whether or not we played with you last season. If there's a discount code enabled, we can enter that in here. And then on the next page, they'll get to the pricing option. So this is where they can see those upsells. So if they choose to purchase or not a sticker, and then they'll also choose their price option, whether they'd like to pay in full or go with the payment plan that's set up for their price option. Once both of those are selected, we can go ahead and hit continue. That'll bring us to this page where the refund policy is going to show up. They'll get a summary, and then they'll be able to complete that registration. Since this one was free, we didn't enter payment information, but of course, if you had that, you would enter that in here to complete. Then once you've got someone in your signups, now you'll be able to see what that registration report looks like with all of that data saved from the registration record. We've also got this summary showing above by age level, so I can see how many different positions and age level registrants I have here. This registration report is also filterable, so you can jump in and add any filters that you need to get a subset of your registrations. and then send an email to those folks right from that registration report. So that completes the walkthrough of how to create a program in season. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach us at help@crossbar.org or help.crossbar.org, where we've got a chat, and feel free to send us a message. Thanks so much.